Okay, so here we got Kygo board and train, and we're going to work on placement with him for the first time, so I just want to kind of show you what that looks like. I'll probably speed up the video a little bit later on, but I'll talk through a little bit of it first. Kygo, place. He's quite the pushy guy. He's gotten away with a lot. He's pretty smart. Kygo. So he does take a little more pressure than a lot of dogs do, especially for the first couple times. He likes to be a little testy with that, but that's totally fine. So you may, and he's a bit vocal about place. Good. About when he's kind of choking himself a little bit, or at the end of the lead, and there's a little pressure on there. So I'm not putting unnecessary pressure, but he's a bit vocal, so just be prepared for that. If you haven't seen it before, all my clients, they kind of know how the deal goes, but it can be a bit dramatic. So yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about Kygo. Let me just make sure everything's still in frame nicely. Why is it so fuzzy? There. Sorry it was so fuzzy there. Hopefully it'll be better now. So Kygo's had a little bit of reactivity. He's a big puller on leash. Face. He's a super big puller on leash. He's very used to getting his way. And very pushy about it, very vocal about it. He's had some reactivity around like resource guarding and stuff like that. So his owners are got him sign up for a board and train with me to help get some of those issues sorted out and teach them kind of the lifestyle to help all that kind of nonsense go away. Because when you're not living the right lifestyle with your dogs, none of these problems are going to stop. So that's where we differ from kind of probably what you see your typical kind of obedience kind of stuff. They teach what I call on-off dog training, kind of like yo-yo dieting, where you have moments during the day where you train and then moments when you don't. To me, training is always. Everything you do with your dog, they're learning from. It's a lifestyle. So think about it like parenting children, for instance. Even though you don't feel like you're actively parenting them, they're hearing everything. So when all of a sudden they swear, and you're wondering, where did they pick up that swear word from? Maybe you swore once, not thinking they could hear it, but they picked it up. So same thing with these guys. Even when you think you're not training them, so to say, they're still picking up on everything. So right. So if you're not living that right lifestyle, then where you're kind of teaching them what's acceptable, what's not, what the behaviors are allowed inside the house, outside the house, then you're never going to get the right outcome, because you're not teaching the dog to kind of think for itself and learn what's acceptable and what's not. I'm trying to think about what else I want to talk about. So to me, anything that happens outside the house, so a lot of people contact me and say, my dog pulls on leash or it's reactive to other dogs. It's all outside stuff, and they think the inside stuff is great. Whereas what happens is where you spend most of your time with your dog is in the house. So if the stuff in the house isn't on point, that's going to show outside, right? Just because there's more stimulation out there. And you may not be realizing there's certain things that your dog is doing that are causing those behaviors in the house. Maybe it's fine to you, but to them, it's not. Their mindset's a bit different because of it. So that's leading towards them having outbursts outside. So even if you think things are really fine inside, your dog's really good inside. If you're having issues outside, I'd look at what you're doing inside and figure out where your dog may be being a bit pushy, maybe a bit overstimulated. That's a huge thing. They're not kind of listening. They're always kind of at your feet, or not respecting your space in the kitchen. If you tell them to go lay down, are they listening? Or if you tell them to back away from the door, are they listening? Are they charging the door? All those things matter. Or are they reacting to the doorbell? Or anytime let's say they're fast asleep on the floor somewhere. If you were to drop, say, a pot or a pan or a pen, or pick up your keys, are they instantly awake again and checking things out? If so, they're overstimulated. And that's where placement comes in handy. So this is how we teach the dogs to relax. That things in the house, those noises, it doesn't matter. They don't need to go check it out. They don't need to make sure that they're that everything's okay for you. So that's when they're starting to feel like they kind of have to protect a little bit. They're being kind of surveillance. So we want to teach them to relax, and we're just going to take care of the house and let them just relax and be a dog. So yeah, what we're going to do with Mr. Kygo here is we're going to be placing him for probably a couple hours. Usually the first session is a couple hours because I want him to fully relax and just kind of unwind. He doesn't necessarily have to fall asleep, but I want him to relax. What'll probably happen is he'll relax a little bit, and then he'll have kind of get a second wind and say, hey, I'm bored of this, let's move. And then have that bit of a fight happen where he's wanting to get off and I'm saying, no buddy, we're not getting off. And then have him relax again before I take him off. So yeah, I'll probably end up fast forwarding from here on out, speeding it up so you don't have to listen to the whole shenanigans. And what I'm going to do is do some paperwork, do some emails and stuff while this is happening. So this is where you incorporate dog training into your everyday life. This eventually goes away. It's part of the process. But while they're with me, this is a huge thing. And same thing with when they go home. This is a huge thing for a while too. They've got to earn those rights and freedoms back by behaving here. So if you can't behave here, I can't expect you to not go nuts and chase the pizza delivery guy when he comes, right? So we take things back to basics, control the environment a bit more, set our dog up for success. That's a huge thing. So start with baby steps. This is we're going to kindergarten. We're going to get him to grade 12, but we're starting in kindergarten. We got to go right back to basics so that we can then build on it when he's ready, and it'll come like that. It'll just boom, 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 boom. Things will start to click. It's lather, rinse, repeat, and then eventually, once he's being really respectful for a while, he's not pulling on leash, he's not barking at the doorbell, he's not barking at strangers, he's not lunging. That's when freedoms can start to come back in again. And the other thing I want to touch on is this is a journey, guys. So having your dog go through training, it's really important to stick with the process and trust the process because it's a journey. And if you rush the process, what happens is it's kind of like yo-yo dieting, where you're training and then you're not, and then you're training and then you're not, and then you're training and then you think everything's going good, you're giving freedom. Your dog wasn't ready for it, they start to make bad decisions, and all of a sudden there's an outburst, probably because you rushed the process. You rushed them from grade 9 math to grade 12 calculus and expected them to pass. So take it easy, and then remember that you're probably going to have your dog for 10 years or more. Even let's say it's an older dog you rescued and you're only going to have him for 5 years. What's a couple months of hard work and restraint and restrictions on freedoms for the rest of its life being well behaved and well mannered, right? So trust the process, and yeah, I'll fast forward from here on out.